It starts with a phone call you almost ignore. Tuesday night, 11:43 p.m. Rain taps softly against the windows of your tiny apartment in Arlington, Virginia. The sink is full of dishes. Your rent is 3 days late. A half-eaten microwave dinner sits cold beside your laptop, while another rejection email glows on the screen. Thank you for your interest. You stop reading after that. Your phone vibrates. Unknown number. You almost let it ring out. Then you answer. A calm voice says your full name. Not the shortened version your friends use, your entire legal name. The room suddenly feels colder. We reviewed your application, the voice says. We'd like to continue the conversation. No company name, no details, just an address. Don't discuss this call with anyone. Silence. You stare at your reflection in the black TV screen across the room. Your heart starts beating faster because deep down, you already know who they are, and you have no idea what this decision is about to cost you. Level 1. The applicant. The first thing you learn about the CIA is that nobody looks like a spy. No tuxedos, no dramatic music, no car chases, just fluorescent lights, beige walls, security checkpoints. You arrive at a government building before sunrise. No signs outside, no logo. A guard checks your ID 3 separate times before you're escorted into a gray interview room so cold it feels intentional. They ask strange questions, not about patriotism, about weakness. What's the worst thing you've ever done? What kind of people can manipulate you? What are you hiding from your family? You realize quickly this isn't a job interview. It's psychological excavation. They aren't trying to discover your strengths. They're mapping your fractures. Weeks become months. Background checks, polygraphs, financial investigations, interviews with former classmates you haven't spoken to in years. Your neighbors notice strangers asking questions about you. Your mother asks why federal investigators visited her house. You lie. You start lying a lot. That becomes the first real training. Not firearms, not espionage, isolation. Because secrecy quietly begins separating you from everyone else, long before you ever receive a badge. Finally, one morning an encrypted email appears. Conditional offer accepted. You reread it 12 times. For a moment, you feel important, chosen, special. Then training starts, and you realize you are completely replaceable. Level 2. Trainee. The instructors never yell. That's what unsettles you most. They speak calmly while dismantling people psychologically. At the farm, the CIA's infamous training facility, failure becomes routine. You learn surveillance detection routes through crowded cities. You memorize faces, license plates, behavioral patterns. You spend hours inside fake embassies, practicing dead drops and covert communication. But the hardest part isn't operational training. It's learning to kill pieces of yourself. Empathy slows decision-making. Attachment creates vulnerabilities. Honesty becomes dangerous. You begin studying human weakness the way doctors study anatomy. Fear, greed, loneliness, ego. Every person has a door, you just have to find the handle. One night during an exercise, you're instructed to manipulate another trainee to reveal classified information. You become friends with him first. Lunch together, gym together, casual conversations about family. 3 weeks later, you exploit his trust. He fails the exercise. He's removed from the program the next morning. No goodbye. His apartment is emptied by noon. You never see him again. That night, you sit alone in your dorm room staring at the ceiling fan spinning above you. You tell yourself it was only training, but something inside you already feels different, smaller, colder. And for the first time, you understand the real currency of intelligence work. Not information, people. Level 3. The field officer. Your first overseas assignment feels almost disappointing. No explosions, no secret gadgets, just loneliness. You operate under diplomatic cover in Eastern Europe. Officially, you work in cultural affairs. Unofficially, your job is to recruit assets, human sources, people willing to betray governments, organizations, or sometimes their own families. The city is beautiful at night, old streets soaked in rain, cigarette smoke drifting outside bars, church bells echoing through cold air. But you never fully experience any of it. Every cafe meeting feels like surveillance. Every stranger might be watching you. You start noticing patterns everywhere. The same man crossing the street twice. The parked car that stays too long.
The woman at the train station pretending not to look at you. Paranoia becomes routine. Then you meet your first target, a mid-level government employee drowning in debt, divorced, gambling addiction, 2 children. You study his life for weeks, his routines, his fears, his desperation. And eventually, you approach him exactly how you were trained, not aggressively, patiently. You become the solution to his problems. By the time he realizes he's committing espionage, he already can't escape. You pay him in cash inside underground garages. He avoids eye contact now. His hands shake constantly. One night, he asks you a question. Do you ever feel guilty? You don't answer immediately, because the truth terrifies you. You don't know anymore. Level 4, the insider. This is where the job starts changing you permanently. You now have successful operations, reliable assets, positive evaluations. Washington trusts you, which means they give you harder assignments, more dangerous people, more morally gray operations. You begin attending private diplomatic events where everyone smiles while secretly extracting information from each other. Every conversation has layers. Every friendship contains hidden motives. You stop trusting sincerity completely. Even romance becomes operational. You start dating someone overseas. At first, it feels real. For a while, you convince yourself it is. Late-night dinners, quiet mornings, temporary happiness between assignments. But eventually, headquarters asks a simple question. Can they compromise you? The relationship ends 2 weeks later. Not because you wanted to, because your life no longer belongs entirely to you. That realization hits hardest at airports. Always leaving, always lying, always becoming someone slightly different depending on the passport in your pocket. You call your family less often now. Not intentionally, you just don't know how to explain your life anymore. How do you describe existing in a world where trust itself feels dangerous? Some nights you sit alone in luxury hotel rooms, staring at city skylines, while encrypted messages glow across your laptop screen. Operations, threat reports, recruitment assessments. Outside, millions of people live normal lives. Inside, your entire existence revolves around secrets nobody can ever know. And slowly, normal life begins feeling unreal. Level 5. The ghost. This is the level nobody talks about publicly. The unofficial level. The level where your identity starts dissolving. You've spent years building false personas, fake biographies, fake friendships, fake routines. Eventually, your brain struggles separating performance from reality. Who are you when nobody's watching? You genuinely don't know anymore. The stress becomes physical. Insomnia, hypervigilance, panic responses to small noises. You scan exits automatically everywhere you go. Restaurants, airports, hotels. You can't stop. One overseas operation goes wrong. An asset is exposed. Not publicly, quietly. The kind of quiet disappearance intelligence agencies never officially acknowledge. You receive confirmation through a secure message while eating breakfast alone. Asset terminated. That's the exact wording. Not killed, not murdered, terminated. You stare at the message while waiters refill coffee around you. Nobody in the restaurant knows someone just died because of information you helped collect. You return to your hotel room and sit in darkness for hours. Because this is the moment you finally understand something horrifying. The system keeps moving, no matter who gets sacrificed. Assets, civilians, even officers. Everyone is replaceable, including you. And once you understand that, fear changes shape. It becomes quieter, colder, more permanent. Level 6. The handler. Now you're senior enough to manage younger officers. You recognize yourself in them immediately. The ambition, the excitement, the naive patriotism. You also recognize the exhaustion waiting for them. One recruit asks you during training, "Does it get easier?" You almost laugh. Instead, you tell him the truth. You get better at carrying it. Because by now, your personal life barely exists. Divorces are common in the agency, alcohol problems too. Therapy sessions disguised as performance consultations. You've watched brilliant officers emotionally collapse after years of compartmentalization. Human beings were never designed to split themselves into this many identities, but the world keeps getting darker. Cyber warfare, assassinations, proxy conflicts, terror networks. And every week, intelligence reports land on your desk describing threats most civilians will never hear about. That's another burden of the job, knowing how fragile everything really is. You stop seeing headlines the same way. Behind every public event lies another invisible war most people never notice. And sometimes you wonder whether secrecy protects democracy or slowly poisons it. But questioning too much becomes dangerous in this world. Not externally, internally. Because once doubt enters your mind, every operation starts feeling morally unstable. And intelligence work cannot survive hesitation.
Final level, the man nobody knows. 23 years later, you retire quietly. No parade, no recognition, no public medals, just paperwork inside a secure building and a handshake from someone already focused on the next crisis. Outside, Washington traffic moves normally. People walk past you carrying groceries and coffee cups. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody knows what you've done. The government's destabilized. The operations buried forever. The names you used, the people who disappeared, the lies you told so often they became instinct. You return home to a quiet house. For the first time in decades, nobody is tracking your schedule. No encrypted phones, no emergency briefings, no surveillance routes. You should feel free. Instead, you feel empty. Because the agency trained you to live in permanent tension, and now silence feels unbearable. Some nights you wake up at 3:17 a.m., convinced your phone is vibrating beside the bed, but there's nothing there. You sit awake in darkness, listening to the refrigerator hum in the kitchen. Your hands are older now, a slight tremor, faint scars across your knuckles from a life nobody can verify. You think about all the versions of yourself that existed over the years. The fake names, the fake smiles, the carefully constructed lies. And eventually, a terrifying thought settles into your mind. Maybe the cover identities survived longer than the real one did. Years later, a young applicant sits alone inside a tiny apartment somewhere in America. Rain hits the windows. Their phone vibrates. Unknown number. A calm voice says their full name, and somewhere far away, you close your eyes, already knowing how the story ends. The hardest part of becoming a CIA agent was never learning how to deceive enemies. It was learning how to disappear from yourself. Because espionage doesn't simply change what you do, it changes how you think, how you trust, how you love, how you sleep. And by the time you realize how much of yourself was traded away for secrecy, the transformation is already complete. You were trained to protect the nation. Nobody warned you what it would cost to remain human.